I've been a cynic and I'm generally skeptical.
I'm a super skeptic, but I'm not cynical.
My mother has been a long time follower. Mommy, are you happy? Even I've gotten in trouble with the right wing many times, so I didn't know I would find this one thing in common with you.
Right wing is hitting me like anything. Because, Master Salim came, he said, Ali, what is your problem? You decided not to eat anymore, just take lots of pills. You know what will happen?
Don't look at me.
That's what these people have.
Yeah.
The youngsters think.
These people have your son. I'll play this video next time you ask me to not eat meat.
I'll come to the meat. I've still not come, I'm just handling vegetables. So saying I love you, you say save soil, it's not any different.
So it's nice to be here. It's nice to be here. I don't know if your team gave you any context to me.
No, you should give me some context.
Okay, I shall. My name is Tanmay, I'm a comedian. So,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah. Which means I am generally, I've been a cynic. I'm generally cynical and I'm generally skeptical. But I'm here today with an open mind. Not just because, 30 years of living around chaos kind of tends to make you wander towards some stillness.
See, skepticism, let's separate these two things, skepticism and cynicism. They're two different things. I'm a super skeptic.
Are you?
Yes, always. But I'm not cynical. Because cynical means you made some assumptions, skepticism means you're looking.
Fair. But yeah, I think I'd agree to that. I'm a cynic because whenever I see a throng of people following something, my first angle is what's the truth here and what's funny about it. However, my mother…
I hear that you have a following. I get the point.
Absolutely, 100% agree. But my mother has been a long time follower, and all my battles against the world are in one place, and my relationship with my mother is in another. And I knew it would make her very happy if I was here. And I know that all the teachings that you have given has made her very happy. So thank you for that, first of all. I know it brings a lot of peace to many people. And I would not pass on this opportunity to do that. Mommy, are you happy?
I'm overwhelmed that he is here. I never thought he would be here conversing with you.
Yeah.
Why does he always pick such bad people to converse?
My first question, sir, is I have a fairly younger audience that follows me, kids between the ages of 18 to 30. Love and relationships make a big part of their lives. And given today's chaotic world and social media, there's always a need to want to have a partner, to search for a partner. Or if not social media, then sometimes your mother asks you questions like, why aren't you getting married? Why aren't you with someone? How does one learn to live alone and be alone?
See, as human beings are made, as life is made, what do you think? This is a complete life by itself or it's a half a life? What do you think?
If the purpose of life is to experience…
No, forget about the purposes. If you simply sit here, is this a complete life or a half a life?
A partnership would be nice.
Partnership is nice to act in the world, to do something in the world. But to simply sit here, is this a complete life or a half a life?
It can feel fairly complete.
Fairly complete means somewhere it's not yet complete. Well, if you pay enough attention to it, it's a complete life. It's made as a whole life. But to do things in the world, if you want to do business, you want a business partner. If you want to build a family, you want another kind of partner. You just want to live outside, you need another kind of partner. You need partners to act in the world. You don't need partners to be. Because you're the only creature on the planet who is being referred to as a being. Sparrows are flying around, you can't fly, but we don't call them bird beings, they're just birds. All right? Tiger is roaming in the forest. We don't call him a tiger being. An elephant is raging through the forest. We don't call him an elephant being. Only this one we're calling a being because this one is supposed to know how to be. When you don't know how to be, then you start thinking you're incomplete. How to act in the world is a different affair altogether, because that's not your space. World is not entirely your space. If you want to act there, you need the cooperation of hundreds of people, otherwise you cannot act. So to get that cooperation, you form variety of partnerships. To fulfill your financial needs, one kind of partnership, your social needs, another kind, your physical, psychological, emotional needs, another kind of partnership. That is for activity. But if you sit here, why aren't you a complete life? This is a complete life.
So based on what you just said, do you think it's possible to have multiple partners, given that, like you said, different people satisfy different needs? Some people may satisfy your emotional needs, some may satisfy your physical needs. Is it possible to…
Everybody has multiple partners. But if you are thinking partnership is only about body-based partnerships, then it's a different matter. Otherwise, don't all of us have different partners to fulfill different aspects of our life? I know what you're talking about.
No, but the term that goes around nowadays is polyamory or things like that, which is, oh, I'm in love with different people, or…
Why not? I'm in love with billions of people. But why did you misunderstand love means you have to do something with your body? Physical body has its boundaries. Only with boundaries you can maintain sanctity of your body. If you don't set any boundaries, everybody can walk over you, then it'll become ugly. There are other aspects to it, there are sciences attached to it. Let's not go there. Even in terms of simple sense, everything physical has a boundary, isn't it? In fact, it is the defined boundary which makes the physical, isn't it? You call this a table. This is not a table, why? Because that's its boundary. We call that you. We don't call this as you, why? Because that is your boundary. Physicality is always like this. So you're misunderstanding physicality with other aspects of life. Is it not true that if you have a dog at home, you share some emotion with the dog, does it mean to say your mother doesn't exist? There is nobody… I'm sorry?
Love is positive sum.
See, there's too much misconceptions about these things. If I have to fix that right now in a brief conversation, the thing is like this. If you ever experience any love for anybody, where do you experience it? People say it's in the air. But did you feel it in the air or within yourself? You must answer that question.
Is this part of inner engineering, Mummy? My mother has been asking me
These questions, is it? Oh…
do inner engineering.
No, she's following me. It's okay, if she asked that question, and now I'm asking you that question, in case you did not answer that question, at least time that you answer that question. This is not for me that you have to answer, for yourself. If you experience anything as a human being, does it happen within you or outside of you? Within you, right?
Yes.
Whether it's peacefulness, joyfulness, love, anything, pain, misery, whatever happened only within you. So when you talk about love, why you talk about somebody else? That's a relationship. A relationship is a transaction which needs to be managed with some amount of skill. To be loving, you don't need anything or anybody, you're just loving. Loving means it's the sweetness of your emotion. And why are you not sweet? Why have you become bitter? Because you have assumed things from limited experience of life, isn't it? If you're walking on the street, somebody poked you and went away. Now walking on the street will be a bitter experience because you're always thinking these people will poke you. Maybe only once in your lifetime they poked you. But all the time you will be suspicious, fearful and thinking somebody will poke you, and just to fulfill your desire somebody may. So the problem is, the experiences of life, instead of using that as a way to rise, most people are using the experiences of life to become wounded. They did not become wise. The more bitter experiences happen to you, the wiser you should have become. Unfortunately, they become wounded because they do not know the difference between memory, present experience of life and imagination. In yoga, we call this trikala. There are three aspects of time in your life.
Memory?
There is… yesterday is only a memory, isn't it? Now you're experiencing what is there, but now memory may be overlapping into your present moment and you can't experience it. Or using this memory, you project something, which is imagination. Now when you don't have any distinction between these three, that memory, experience and imagination are all mixed up, then everything is a mess. And in that mess, people are trying to find sense, they will not find anything.
So how does one learn to be present? This is…
Are you present right now? Are you here?
I am.
Yes.
But
right now the problem is, you're thinking about something else. So right now there are people who are always… whole world right now, it came from America but now it's everywhere, be in the moment, be in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, be somewhere else and show me, no?
No, but if I'm in the future, I'll…
No, can you be somewhere else and show me right now?
I can't.
You can think about the past, you can think about the future. So what they're essentially telling you is, do not think about the past, do not think about the future. Be in the moment means that's a teaching. But one needs to understand, to arrive at this level of cerebral capability, it took millions of years of work of the evolution to get us here, to this level of capability. We are the only creatures on this planet who have such a cerebral capability. And this capability, unfortunately, most human beings are suffering. A work of millions of years, people are suffering. This is the greatest thing that's happened to us. We can think better than these cows, we can think better than the elephant, we can think better than anything. Our memory is so vivid, our imagination is so fantastic. This is what they are suffering. What happened 10 years ago, they're still suffering. What may happen day after tomorrow, they're already suffering. They're not suffering life, they've not even touched life. They're suffering their own memory and imagination. That means you do not know how to handle your faculties because your education, it is teaching you all the nonsense about how to dominate and extract things from everything. It's not told you a thing about how to manage this one. If you do not know how to manage your thought and emotion, how the hell are you going to ever live well? I'm asking anybody. How? Just by chance, if somebody is nice to you today, you feel little good. But you can never have this working for you throughout your life, somebody will always be nice to you. There's no such thing. Then you must get series of dogs. A dog means it's a 12-year love affair, all right? However you behave, he behaves well with you. I hope dogs learn and they bite you.
If my dog is watching, please don't do that.
Now they're getting robotic dogs which can be programmed, just what you want, all right? Every 12 years you have to replace your love, that's all.
You said something interesting about love there. Said that a lot of relationships are transactional, which is what happens often when…
No, all relationships are transactional.
All relationships are…
Yes, you can be loving within yourself or not, that's up to you. If you're loving, you will conduct your relationship in a certain way, with certain sweetness to it. If you're not loving, you will conduct your relationship in a crude manner. But love is something that you are. Relationship is something that you do in the world. I know today, because you picked up this American culture, if I utter the word relationship, the young people are thinking it has to be body-based relationship.
Or romantic.
No.
Yeah.
That's what it's, body-based essentially. See, do you have a relationship with your mother?
I do.
I'm telling you, I'm in a lot of trouble with the right-wing people because I said, initially Yashoda saw Krishna as a child, but as he started manifesting his nature, she just became her lover. Their idea of a lover is sexuality. Arey, in this country, Shiva Premi, Shiva Kami are there, does it mean sexuality? This is a country where people related to divine in whichever way they could relate, there was no problem. But now these people have become like this, they're going on hitting me all the time on the social media. Oh, he says Krishna had sex with his mother. What nonsense is that? Because you become so body-based, your identity has become so body-based, you can't think beyond that. So this essentially means your intelligence has been hijacked by your hormones, that's the only problem you have.
Sir, I relate with this because even I've gotten in trouble with the right wing many times, so I didn't know I would find this one thing in common with you.
Even now, see, look at Mahashivratri event is just over. Right wing is hitting me like anything. Because, Master Salim came and he sang his heart out. He started Om Namah Shivaya, then he went to Ali Ali. So they're all upset for Ali Ali. Sadhguru is dancing and he's making everybody dance. He's caused sacrilege to Mahashivratri. But that guy, he's come from a Muslim community, but he's calling out to Shiva. They missed that point. He said, Ali, what is your problem?
Do you pay attention to what people are saying about you? Because I think not all criticism is generally bad. I think we have a tendency to reject all criticism, but maybe some of it is useful. Do you pay attention to what people are saying?
See, if criticism comes even from a little child, I will listen, bowing down to them. But these days you don't see any criticism, all you see is hate gangs. All the time they're spewing venom, no matter what you say, what you don't say. Do I pay attention? I pay attention to everything. Am I in any way changing the course of my life or what I do because of what they say? No. They obviously don't know what they're talking about, so it's okay with me. It's just that you have to pay attention because you have to navigate your way through the world. Because I'm not just talking, there's so many projects on the ground. It's important all those things happen. So I have to pay attention, it doesn't matter how silly these accusations are.
When I said that I'm a cynic, right? Like one of the points that truly resonated with me was, once you go through enough ups and downs in life, you start feeling like life.
You only count the downs, you forgot the ups.
Fair, the downs make a bigger dent in your memory. Do you believe that life has any purpose? Do you think life is purposeless?
See, this question arises only because people are too invested in their own thought. This is a culture. Yogic culture never paid attention to what you think. You think whatever nonsense you want, we don't care about that because your thought is a consequence of a limited amount of data that you have. Yes or no?
Correct.
It's a programming.
It's whatever's input, that's
Yeah, the same thing you're thinking. So this may be positive, this may be negative, accordingly you're making your conclusions, it doesn't mean a thing because it's not life. Your thought process is not life. Your thought process is something that you make up. At least you must make it up the way you want. She's giving you teaching all this?
She tries. She tries. She sends me videos of a few every week, some of which I watch, some of which I learn from her. Especially in moments where she can see that I'm growing wary. Uma, do you have any questions?
Yeah. I have some questions on the Safe Soil campaign that you have. Others, I've seen enough of yours that I understand a little bit of the work he's asking. The Safe Soil, you said something about plowing. Plowing is, I thought it was an integral part of the soil. Only when you plow, it gets mixed up and you grow better crop. And especially where it's in Punjab, they are burning those leftovers of this crop after harvesting. Is it a very difficult thing? Like they can't plow it or something and then they're burning of it? Even
See,
in Maharashtra, I've seen them burning. And when I questioned them, they said it's for warming for the next harvesting. That's the reason.
What are they warming? There's not enough sunlight in India.
I don't know. What I thought was maybe
No.
reading is a little difficult, so they just
No,
burn the
no.
whole thing off.
That's not the thing. Okay, let's not get into why they're doing what they're doing, because that's a big thing. But why plowing? Why am I talking about that? See, the problem is even in the universities, largely, except in few universities, in most places, including the agriculture ministry, including the soil health card that government is making, we are thinking of soil as a bunch of chemicals. We think it's nitrogen, phosphorus, this one, that one. No, soil is a living organism. If you take a handful of soil, there's anywhere between 7 to 10 billion organisms in a handful of soil. It has to be that way. If all of them are on and active, there is enough oxygenation happening. First 12 to 15 inches of soil is the basis of 87% of life on this planet. If there is enough organisms, they keep the soil expanded like that and it can hold water, it can hold oxygen, everything. Now you compact the soil too much, now there's no oxygenation, roots cannot go into that, so you start plowing. So that is a habit we've gotten later. Now you went into the forest. If you go into this forest, nobody ever plowed this land. Just see how everything is growing. Because there the organic content could be anywhere between 60 to 70% of the soil. It's so rich that its water holding capability is such, if you go there into the jungle, you don't need any implement. With your fingers, if you just dig like this, 2-3 inches if you go, it'll be damp. This is all your crop needs, do you understand? Right now, 62% of India's soil is below 0.5%. To call soil as soil, it should have minimum 3 to 6%. If you make it 8 to 10%, your irrigation requirement would come down to 30% of what you need right now. If you're using 100 liters, you would use 30 liters and still it'll be fine. If you raise it to 12 to 15% organic content, your irrigation requirement would come down to 10 to 15%. 15 liters out of 100 liters is what you need. Right now, one of the biggest crises that you're facing in the country, urban people won't understand this, go and see in the villages, or you see any traditional imagery, artwork, movies, everything, those village girls are carrying a pot, well nicely painted, and she's swinging and she's singing a song and going. No, that's not how it happens. She goes, this damn thing is weighing 25 kilograms on her head, she goes shaking like this. She doesn't go sing, she doesn't have romance on the way. No, because the actress is carrying an empty pot, she can do all that. You just see how they're carrying the water? The whole thing is joy, shaking like this, neck is shaking like that. There's 25 kilograms on top of the head. Really, nearly 20 liters of water they're carrying, plus the pot, everything 22, 23 kilograms of weight on the head. She will be shaking with that thing. If little she doesn't carry it with balance, she will get all kinds of problems in her body. She's learned to carry it with balance, but there is no room for romance or song or dance with that weight on your head, all right? So we have been depicting this in a romantic way. People are walking miles to get a pot of water. What is romantic about it, I'm asking? But unfortunately, the romantic image of the village is, the village belle is carrying a pot and she goes like this and that. To wash her clothes, she goes 2 kilometers somewhere, to a river or a pond. You think all this is romantic? There's nothing romantic if you had to do it. Somebody else is doing it, looks romantic. Poverty itself is being made into a very romantic thing in the movies and books and everything, you know. It's a cruel thing, but everywhere it's romanticized in a certain way. Leaving that, over 84% of the country's water is used for agriculture. You can bring it down significantly if the soil was rich. One reason why it's not happening is summers there's no cover crops. This was part of our agriculture in this country. In the summers, we always had cover crops of legumes, pulses and other things. We knew that we will not get any yield out of it, not much yield out of it, but when the rains began to happen in monsoon, we would plow back the whole crop into the land. Easily 1 to 2 inches of humus was forming every year. Today there is nothing. In the last 40 years, we think by throwing salt, we can do it. Seema, you're eating healthy and you're healthy. Suppose we test your blood today and we find you're little deficient in iron or B6, B12, something. What will we do? We'll give you 2-3 pills to take it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, to bridge that, lack of nourishment. Now we are thinking similarly with agriculture, we have the soil but it may not be always in a perfect state because every year we are using it for so many crops. What is deficient? This nitrogen, phosphorus, something sulfur, we put in different ways, lime, whatever else we were putting, to bridge that gap. Now you took a few pills and you felt really wonderful tomorrow morning, so you decided not to eat anymore, just take lots of pills and you will be okay. You know what will happen?
Don't look at me. There's no reason to look at me.
That's what these people,
Yeah.
the youngsters think.
These people have your son.
So that is what has happened to the soil now. Our farmer started thinking like this. People who educated the farmer told him, don't worry about anything, just throw more salt, it'll help. So slowly the cost of farming is going up to come to such a place where you almost cannot make profit out of it. Today, just if you want, we've made some rough surveys. In this country, not even 2% of the farmers want their children to go into farming. How the hell are you going to grow food in this country in another 25 years when this generation goes? In United States, 50% of the farmers in the last 12 years have not seen a single dollar of profit. People may not know this, people think only Indian farmers commit suicide. US farmers, among all the various professions who commit suicide, farming community has the highest amount of suicides in United States.
Really?
Yes. Because more than 50% of US topsoil is gone. They heavily used all these things, now how much ever you put, nothing will come. Every year the usage of fertilizer, insecticides is going up and the costs are going up endlessly.
With America, I wanted to ask you, how do we meat eating, how is it going?
It's another question that's targeted towards me.
It's well targeted, I can see. With the best intention, of course,
Yeah.
because it's your mother.
Grown up eating vegetarian and these people have started…
She keeps referring to us, these people.
These children.
Yes,
You.
I understand.
see, this has happened because vegetarian diets have lost their strength in many ways. See, everywhere it's happened, but there are not enough studies to tell us clearly. United States is one place where the studies have happened. Today, it's very fashionable for people to eat salads and things like that. One important ingredient is lettuce. If you ate lettuce in early 20th century, let's say 1920, how much you got out of that? Today what you will get is only 10% of what you would get then. 90% reduction in nutritional value of vegetables has happened in the United States. In different vegetables it may be little different, anywhere between 50 to 90% most vegetables range. If you ate 1 orange in 1920, today you will have to eat 8 oranges to get the same nourishment from 1 orange. So how many people can eat 8 oranges per day to get that? See, today, this may not be an absolute fact, but it is very related. A country like India, which is so packed with population, so close, you can't really keep distance. Everybody is saying, maintaining distance with this pandemic. Indians are not able to maintain distance, there's not enough space to maintain distance most of the time. People are all living 8-10 people in one house, all this. But in United States, where it is very well proportioned between land and population, the proportion is extremely good. In spite of that, even today, somewhere between 16 and today I don't know what's the number, 2-3 days ago it was nearly 1900 people dying per day of the pandemic. We've almost come out of it. Why is this? One important reason, this may not be the only reason, one important reason is this. The nutritional value in the food has gone down so much. If you ask any doctor, you don't have to be a great virologist or something, just a simple doctor, if you ask them, they will tell you, if you lack vitamin A, vitamin B6, B12, vitamin C, vitamin E, calcium, folate, iron, magnesium, zinc, if these things are missing in your diet, you become susceptible to upper respiratory tract infections. This is common knowledge. Why is it a country like United States, which has a choice of nourishment, all right? People can choose and eat whatever they want. That much choice of nourishment is there, and food is way cheaper than most other countries. In spite of that, see, they are not able to control, the number of deaths are so high because they are so susceptible to upper respiratory tract infections. Well, there are various other factors, this is not the only thing, but this is also an important part of living. So, without the necessary organic strength in the soil, whatever you grow is getting weaker and weaker, and human beings are getting weaker and weaker. When I say weaker, I'm not talking about muscular strength and muscular weakness. The very system is losing it. If today everybody knows this, without the gut microbiome, you cannot digest the food that you eat. Anyway, your mother has only 40% stake in you, 20% actually. Both your mother, father put together, they have only 40% stake in you because 60% of your body is actually microbial. 60% microorganisms, only 40% genetics from your parentage. So, this is just a reflection of what is happening in the soil. Even in the evolutionary scheme of things, you have become the life you are only in consequence of the activity that is largely happening in 12 to 15 inches of soil. It is alive. That aliveness determines how alive this is and how competent this is. So, this is being lost in a way to an extent like this. On an average, the FAO, the UN FAO estimates that approximately 27,000 species of microbial life is going extinct per year. On an average, 27,000 species, not organisms, species going extinct. At this rate, if we go, in another 30 to 40 years' time, we will reach a point, one thing, growing food will be very, very difficult. Another thing is, if we want to regenerate the soil, we will not be able to regenerate the soil. It will take 150 to 200 years to regenerate. But right now, we are in a cusp of time. If we do the right things now, within the next 10, 15 or 20 years' time, we can make a significant turnaround. So this is the most important thing that every human being on the planet right now needs to understand. We are in a unique space of time where we are on a threshold, we can either turn it back or fall over. And this is only once. Whether we will act as a responsible generation or we will act as a silly generation, we'll go ahead and commit suicide.
I'll play this video next time you ask me to not eat meat.
Please.
No, I will come… I'll come to the meat. I've still not come, I'm just handling vegetables. So right now, 51 million square kilometers of land is being used for agriculture. Out of this, 40 million square kilometers, you won't believe this, check it out, 40 million square kilometers are used for raising animals and their food. If you bring down your meat consumption by 50%, 20 million square kilometers of land could be converted into regenerative agriculture straight away. Only 50% I'm asking.
But sir, the vegetables, they don't have the nutritional value as they did earlier, so…
See, that is what we are trying to turn around. If by policy, if you make it 3 to 6% minimum organic content in agriculture thing, why I'm saying this is, see right now, if you have… Where do you live?
In
Mumbai. If you have, let us say, 5,000 square feet of land in Mumbai, you can't build 5,000 square feet of building, there are laws. 2,000–3,000 you can build, you have to leave some space for yourself, your neighbor. But you go to Dharavi and see how homes are built. There is no concept of a window, because all three sides homes, only one entry door, one exit door, the same door. In and out through the same door, every side is covered with other residences. Why this happened? Because there are no laws. So this is exactly what's happening with agricultural land. If you have 10 acres of land, you can plow every inch of this land In 10-15 years, you can make this fertile land into a desert. There's no law to even ask you, why are you doing this? We need a law. Initially as a recommendation with incentives, but when things get bad, naturally it'll become mandatory. This needs to happen. If you own agricultural land, you must make sure minimum 3% organic content is there, because soil is not our property. Soil is a legacy that's come to us. It is the source of life. And we have to pass it on as a living soil for future generations. Right now, we are eating up the soil of the unborn child. This is not even ours, what we are eating right now. We have destroyed it to a point, we are actually eating up the future generation's soil right now. This is a crime. This is a crime against humanity. Every responsible scientist is estimating by 2040, 2045, we'll be producing 40% less food. 40% less food, I want you to imagine what will happen in Mumbai. Your civilization will be ripped apart in 3 days of food shortage, yes or no? Food riots. Food riots will do that. The moment people don't have food to eat, it's not available anywhere, if they see you're well fed, they will slaughter you on the street. It'll happen. And it's happened in the past, it's not new. Human beings lose everything, all sense of humanity. The moment they don't have food for themselves and their families, they will become aggressive like animals, you know.
I'll be the first one to be slaughtered. Say he is the cause.
Let us not take it there, let's reverse it, that's all I'm saying.
So do you think only the policy changes will be good enough, effective in India?
Yesterday I spoke to these Caribbean nations all together called CARICOM. 11 nations are already signing up for policy change. We've developed a policy document. One thing is a common document for all soils, another thing is for soil types, another thing for individual nations, what they should do. In policy change in India, will it solve all the problem? It will not solve all the problems immediately, but it will start reversing the problem. At least it will not advance. Right now, see, we are keeping this land really good. What is the guarantee next generation will keep it this way? This is all that happened, isn't it? In the previous generations it was fine, now we have done this. So, this place we have a policy. In US we are building a whole spiritual city. So I have dedicated 70% of the land as conservation land. The forests that are there, nobody can touch, it's private land. We can build all the 100% if we want. 70% we've committed and written it into our constitution that no matter tomorrow what demands come, what pressures come, you can only build in 30% of the land. Similarly, here we have some restrictions. See, this homeschool, you're sitting here, nearly 70 acres of land. We take only 340 children. I can take 10,000 children if I want for 70 acres, according to city school standards. Only 340 children, because we want the children to grow up in a certain way. Tomorrow, if I'm not here, these people who are around me are not here, let's say 100 years later, they may take 10,000 people. So we have to write it down somewhere that this cannot be done. That needs to happen. This is why policy change is very important, because it ensures that even in future somebody cannot destroy it. Will everything be reversed tomorrow morning? No, that's not how it works. But if you give incentives, it'll begin to happen. Right now, we have done this in a big way in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Karnataka has given a subsidy. For every tree a farmer plants, today there's a 125 rupee subsidy. It's growth related. Over 4 years it will be paid. Every year he has to take pictures of the thing, and we have set up a digital platform and an agency through which if they post the picture, he will get the thing straight into his bank account, it'll go. So now millions of farmers are going in for tree-based agriculture. This kind of incentives are needed. You need a cover crop in the summer, you must give some incentive to put the cover crop. Once he sees the benefit of that, then he will naturally do it by himself.
So, like he said, I'll be the one who will be slaughtered first. This…
Don't say that, why are you saying that?
That's what he said, I didn't say that. He said, so what should he do? What should a person, individual or at their level or as individual should be doing?
Your social media has not had much influence at home.
It hasn't.
He's in his own things, not into the… he's into throwing to media, not taking things from the media.
All right, I'm going to leave then. You guys can continue. What can young people do, sir?
Yes, see, in a democratic nation, we must understand, everybody is saying, Sadhguru, what can I do? I'll roll up my sleeves, shall I fix my garden? It's very cute, you fix your garden, it's wonderful, I appreciate that, but that's not a solution. That's for your satisfaction. The solution is agricultural land should change. You're not a farmer. What is it a citizen can do? In a democratic nation, there are two most powerful things in your hand, your vote and your voice. Vote is only once in 5 years or whatever, it's over. Now it's your voice. And today as a generation of people, we have a voice that no generation ever had. 2021, our video reach is 2.2 billion. When was it possible that spiritual talks would reach 2.2 billion people in 1 year or 2 billion views in 1 year? Such a thing was never possible. Many great people have come, but when they spoke, hardly 10 people heard. So this is the first time we have technologies and means to communicate with the entire world if we want. In this time, if we do not transform the world and do what we really wish to do, it shows that we simply don't care, that's all. So that's all I am trying to do. I'm 65, riding 30,000 kilometers is not a joyride. It's not a joyride, and I'm riding in the northern Europe in winter, where roads are icy. Icy roads and two-wheelers, probably you don't know what it means. And then I'm entering Arabia, where temperatures are 38 to 40 degrees in the month of May. Then I'm riding straight into Indian monsoon. And of course, I'm also riding through probably a war out there.
Yeah.
So you said the soil is getting converted into deserts. So could we convert the deserts into…
Yes, very much possible. See, if you add organic content to sand, it'll become soil. If you take away all the organic content from the soil, it'll become sand. See, just to tell you, Rajasthan was a very lush forest some 6,000–7,000 years ago. Even a better example would be, around 10,000 years ago, Saudi Arabia was a rainforest. Will you believe that? Kalahari Desert was a rainforest. See what's happened today. You do one thing, from 2003 to today, you just see the African map, the Google image of Africa. You just see how the sand is spreading into the middle. Only in the middle there is green. Slowly, both south and north it's spreading like this. This desertification is one of the most serious problems right now. So we are partners with UNCCD, the Agency for Combating Desertification. And this problem is gone to a place where it's scary, you know. By 2032, they're expecting anywhere between 1.2 to 1.3 billion people will migrate. When people migrate in unplanned ways, the suffering that they go through cannot be understood by anybody else other than the way those people, especially for women and children. What they go through, the subjugation that happens to them, the exploitations that happen on the way are unbelievable. You must witness this in some parts of southern Europe, it's so horrendous. And over 1 billion people are going to migrate. In India, it is expected by 2032, 220 million people will migrate to urban centers. If it's 220 million, Mumbai should take at least 40 million people. I'm saying your share for the size of the city. 40 million extra people in your city, just imagine your life there. Already Mumbai people, when they step out in the morning, they are going like this for their morning walk because people are lying in front of their house everywhere. Yes or no? Lot of people, when they walk out of their apartments, people are sleeping all over the place. You have to find your spot to put your foot and go. So this is where we are going. See, suicides are happening. Over 300,000 farmers have committed suicide in India in the last 22 years. People are explaining it off, oh, he had a bank loan, oh, he had this, he had that. I'm asking you, if you were a farmer and your soil was rich and you could grow food on that, even if you cannot commercially be successful, if you could grow food for your own family, would you commit suicide, I'm asking? Would any man do that? When it's become so hopeless he cannot provide even the basic things for his own family, that's when he kills himself. We are explaining it off as if it's just an economic problem. Yes, there are economics involved in that, but it's mainly the soil. 62% of India's soil is below 0.5%. This is a desert. We're just getting there very soon. In the next 10-15 years, we'll be totally there if we don't act now.
See, in today's time of such technological advancement, how is it that such an obvious, grave problem went overlooked for such a long time?
Because everybody is looking at their screen, nobody looked at the land. People ask me, Sadhguru, how did you become an environmentalist? I think being an environmentalist is a very obscene thing for me, because this idea that you are going to manage the environment or ecology, no, you are the ecology. You're just one more worm on this planet who thinks too much of himself or herself. That's the only problem we have. If if you fly, if you go on a hot air balloon and look down, human beings are just crawling like worms or no. We have a magnified sense of who we are, otherwise we are just worms. Just a little bigger worm, more competent worm, more virulent worm, unfortunately. So, I'm like a worm. I lived on this planet for 6.5 decades. I know how life happens. Everybody says, oh, we also lived. No, you didn't live on the planet. Most people live in their heads. I have nothing in my head, so I live on the planet.
So, what do you say about this genetically modified vegetables there being?
At this point, when we are pushing for soil policy, I am not telling people what kind of farming they should do. They can do organic farming, they can use inorganic material, they can do genetic thing, I am not recommending. But I am not trying to tell a farmer how he should do. All I am saying is, let us keep the soil alive for ourselves and future generations. What kind of farming you do, I will leave it to you, because people living in cities, they don't understand a thing about farming, they think it's some kind of a philosophy. Farming is not a philosophy or a religion, it is a practical activity which needs to work. If you worked on the farm, you will know it's a heartbreaking activity, it's not easy, especially if the soil is poor. So, there is no point telling them you do organic, you do this, you do that. If the soil is rich, the usage of chemicals and other things will naturally come down, As it gets poorer, chemicals go up. As it gets richer, it'll come down. As you pop 1 or 2 pills, throw something into the soil because it lacks something. But as it gets richer, the need for this will come down. When the society gets mature enough and they ask only for organic food, then you can do that, because the market is not mature for that. Handful of people are talking about organic food, that's about it. Not a whole population is talking about organic food. Handful of well-to-do people are talking about organic food. With this, farmer can't go 100% organic. But increasing the organic content in the soil will naturally push everything in that direction. Right now, many UN agencies are talking about going all out GMO by 2030. Because what they are seeing is, if we do not reverse this now and really food shortages come, the only way out is genetically modified food. But that'll give us a bridge of approximately 20 to 25 years. When we crash after that, there'll be no recovery. So it's very important, we are in a cusp of time where we need to act. The young people, they don't have to go and fix anything in the farm. They're good at raising…
The voice.
Yes, raise it. All I'm saying is 100 days, everybody talks soil. You want to close a conversation, say soil, save soil, say let's make it happen. You want to close a message, say save soil, instead of saying I love you, you say save soil, it's not any different, I'm telling you. Saving soil is not any different from loving the life around you. So, 100 days if everybody speaks, we will aggregate these numbers, and we have written the soil policy. I'm addressing the COP15 in Ivory Coast, where 170 countries are participating, and we will get an absolutely positive response if enough people talk about it.
This is Sadhguru's version of like, share and subscribe, guys. On that note…
No, they don't have to like me. They can continue to dislike me if they dislike me. All I'm saying is, don't have to support me. I'm only talking about a concerted action. I will do my thing, you do your thing, but all of us are doing at the same time.
Amazing. Sir, you're leaving in a couple of days, I hear, for the
Yep.
30,000 kilometer long journey. Wish you all the best for that. Thank you very much for featuring on this channel, and most importantly, thank you very much for buying me 2 more months of peace with Mom.
Trying to buy a whole life of your piece. 2 months is too small.
Thank you so much, sir.
He's thinking small.
Yes.
Life and beyond, how to be peaceful,
Yes.
joyful.
Okay.
Yes.
I have one
Yes.
question, something out of all this. In Hinduism, we have this burning of the body after the death. Why not Bali? Is there any reason behind it?
There are many reasons. Some of them may be still relevant, some of them may not be. One important thing is, when people die, if people died of old age, this was the practice but now it's forgotten. If people died of ripe old age, they were buried. But if they died somewhere in between, they were always cremated, because we don't know what he's died of. Nobody to test his bacteria or virus and say what he's died of. The best thing is to cremate. There is also another aspect, this is a little complex to say in 2 minutes. If a person dies because life became feeble and he exited the body out of old age, then there is no rush with the body, because the body has become too feeble for anything to come back. But let's say somewhere middle of the life somebody died either because of injury or let's say because of something broke in the body. See, when I say injury, it can be from outside, or your heart broke, your liver broke, this is also kind of damage. When that happens, the rest of the body is still vibrant. Because of this, it will draw certain types of energies towards it. So you don't want that to happen. So there are many aspects which are unnecessarily active for periods which is not necessary. So if you cremate, everything kind of closes. See, even for the family, I'm saying, in this country, after cremation, we won't leave it with that. We will take the ashes and throw it into 3 different rivers or ocean, because completely it must be gone. You must not be able to identify where is somebody who was dear to me right now, it's just gone. Because we want to treat life by its realities. Till somebody is here, whoever they are, you do your best with them. Once they're dead, you must wash your hands of them. This is the nature of this culture. All the rituals people are doing, people are thinking it's in memory. No, it is to distance yourself. There's something called as runanabandha, there are imprints in your own body about people who have been dear to you. You want to distance yourself, because if you don't do that, death will grow within you when you're alive. It will kind of weigh you down. So you need to distance yourself. In this context also, cremation is a very sensible thing to do. Unless people have died in a certain way, that certain way I won't go into because it'll need a lot of description, but generally cremation is better. Ecologically today we are thinking bury and plant a tree is better, but not necessarily. Yes, it is better, but even the ashes are good, they become part of the earth very quickly.
So this is immediately after the cremation is done, but then the next year, and we do those rituals every year?
See, that also, one thing is gratitude, but another thing is to distance yourself. This is called the imprints of runanabandha, you have to distance yourself, otherwise it'll weigh you down. Lot of people, a death happens in the family, their whole life changes, they'll never again recover from that, simply because they have not done the right things. See, it's important the life that's here now happens at its best, because you can't change death, you can change life. That's very, very important. So this is something, coming to terms with death, coming to terms with our mortal nature is the most important thing, because only when you come to terms with your mortal nature, your longing to know something beyond physical body will arise within you. If you think of God, you will become hallucinatory. You think it is, heaven is like metaverse. Somebody wants to go somewhere where everything is fine, nobody will bother them. It's just imaginary meta, That's not the point. In this culture, we saw life and death distinctly, and once death is done, once it's happened, we want to be done with them. Don't try to keep the… like leaving the dead to the dead. Never try to keep the dead alive. We remember them, we cherish them, but they're not alive in us in any way. This is very important, because otherwise you will not do justice to that life or to this life.
Okay, thank you. That's the way.
We'll let Sadhguru go save the soil. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, now, what do you think? This is my planet? This is not yours, is it? We'll let Sadhguru save the soil. What is this you're saying?
I want to put down the screen and go look at the soil for once, so…
Please do that.
Thank you so much, sir.
And if you… this is a time, if we don't do this one thing, we'll be remembered as a very irresponsible generation. I thought, before I am too old and no good for anything, I'll do my bit. You do yours, okay? Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Thank you.
Thank you.